Now let's try traditional division with a 2-digit divisor. Let's try 2,468 divided by 12. So 2,468 is our dividend and 12 is our divisor. The first question we need to ask ourselves is, can 12 go into 2? It can't, so rather than putting a 0 in the thousands place, we're going to go straight through to our next question, can 12 go into 24? It can go into 24 2 times. So 2 times 12 is 24, but the 2 is really in the hundreds place, so 200 times 12 is really 2,400, so I'm going to put the zeros on as placeholders. Then I'll subtract. 8 minus 0 is 8, 6 minus 0 is 6. 4 minus 4 is 0, and 2 minus 2 is 0, but I'm not going to bother putting those zeros on because I'm not going to use them in my calculation. My next question, excuse me, becomes, can 12 go into 6? It cannot, so I have to put a 0 up there in the tens place. Now my next question is, can 12 go into 68? It can. 12 can go into 68 5 times. 5 times 12 is 60. Then I'll do my subtraction. 8 minus 0 is 8, and 6 minus 6 is 0. So my answer is 205 with a remainder of 8, or 205 with a remainder of 8/12. My remainder 8 becomes the numerator, and my divisor 12 becomes the denominator. Or I can also simplify my fraction to 205 and 2/3. I'm going to check my answer by multiplying the answer 205 by the divisor, which is 12. So 205 times 12. My first step is 2 times 5 is 10, so a 0 in the ones place, and I carry the 1 into the tens column. 2 times 0 is 0, but I do need to add that 1 at the top, so I have a 1 in the tens place. And then 2 times 2 is 4, leaving me with 410. Then I move over to the 1 in the bottom digit, the 12. The 1 is really a 10. It's in the tens place. So 1 times 5 is 5, but I'm going to move it over one place because it's actually in the tens column. Then 1 times 0 is 0, and 1 times 2 is 2. And I will add those together. 0 plus 0 is 0. 1 and 5 is 6. 4 and 0 is 4, and bring down my 2. So I check 2,460, remembering that I have to add the 8 that was a remainder for 2,468, which was my original dividend, so I was correct. Okay, let's try another one. This time our dividend will be 6,755, and our divisor will be 15. So my first question is, can 15 go into 6? It cannot, but rather than put that 0 over the 6, I'm going to talk myself right into the next question, which is, can 15 go into 67? Yes, it can. 15 can go into 67 4 times. 4 times 15 is 60, but remember that 4 is really a 400, so I'm going to put 2 zeros on the end as placeholders. Then I'll subtract. 5 minus 0 is 5. 5 minus 0 is 5 again. 7 minus 0 is 7, and 6 minus 6 is 0, but I don't need that. My next question, can 15 go into 7? It can't. Can 15 go into 75? It can. It can go into 75 5 times. And 5 times 15 is 75, and I'll put the 0 on the end because the 5 was originally in the tens place, and then subtract. 5 minus 0 is 5. Last question, can 15 go into 5? It cannot, so I'll put the 0 over, and 0 times 15 is 0. Subtract. 5 minus 0 is 5. So my answer is 450 remainder 5, or 450 and 5/15 when the remainder becomes the numerator and the divisor becomes the denominator. Or I can simplify that fraction to 450 and 1/3. Okay, I'm going to check this one again. My solution was 450, and my divisor was 15, so 450 times 15. 5 minus 0 is 0. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 5 is 25, 5 in the tens place, and I'm going to carry the 2 into the hundreds place. 5 times 4 is 20, and I need to add that 2 back in. So 22, 5 times 450 is 2,250. Then I'm going to go and multiply the 10 in the 15. So 1 or 10 times 0 is 0. 1 times 5 is 5, and 1 times 4 is 4. Then I'll add everything together. 0 and 0 is 0. 5 plus 0 is 5. 2 plus 5 is 7, and 2 plus 4 is 6. So I'm left with, or I get, 6,750, remembering I have to add that remainder 5 back in. So my dividend should have been 6,755, and it was. Sometimes you have to try out different possibilities when you're dividing by a 2-digit or a 3-digit or a 4-digit divisor. For example, when we were doing 6,755 divided by 15, I don't necessarily know my times tables for 15, so I might have to do some trials. And the first one I tried was 15 times 4, which was 60. So yay, that worked out well for me. Then the next step was seeing if 15 could go into 75. I knew 15 went into 60 4 times, so I knew I could add one more 15 to get to 75. So don't be discouraged with those 2-digit divisors. Sometimes you just need to try different combinations.